National ICT Job Fair 2023, because I believe it is going to speak to the needs of the youth and embolden them with skills that they may need to make a better future for themselves. And the theme is navigating the digital horizon. And that's where we will start this morning. I want us to understand what navigating the digital horizon means.
Navigating the digital horizon. Interesting one. Like you mentioned at the start, how interesting this topic is for Ugandans, especially for the young people. Looking at how we, what the theme is actually looking at, ideally, it is targeting, first of all, how do we get into this digital space, first and foremost. Then what avenues are we going to use to get through it? Then also looking at how best can we utilize the opportunities. That is from my own understanding of the same. But looking also deeper in looking at how we can navigate, it's the government which is supposed to set for us the pace onto which we can peruse through to get to this huge milestone that we are looking at as a country. And it being ICT, the government also did launch the Digital Transformation Roadmap this very year.
Yes.
So when you look at the second annual job fair, it is giving us a huge trajectory of where we want our country to go as far as the digital migration, or getting to know of the level at which other countries are actually moving. But also with this same theme, it is actually calling upon the young people, or what you could call the youth, who are ideally the target market with this job fair, because they are already practicing these ICT details. It's actually also calling upon them to utilize the opportunities that they have for now, as they also join the government in the same cause, to make sure that if we have something we are shooting at, that maybe one day when we start to earn huge or we start to gain a lot from the digital migration as a country, you never know, this would be a Kickstarter for it all. So the theme is an interesting one, but it's giving us a clear picture of what the government intends to achieve.
Now, looking at the digital horizon of the country, how are we doing so far?
Well, I would say first, so far we are not so bad as a country.
There is a lot to be desired.
But there is a lot to be desired. Why I'm saying so far we're not doing so bad, it's because we have the conversations already. So the government already knows the impact that digitization has on our country. So that means that is a good starting point. Now, where, like Chantal has mentioned, where we have a lot to be desired is when you look at the infrastructure, the digital infrastructure. This may not be tangible, but how accessible are the digital platforms for the young people? How accessible, how accessible, let's say, the internet, how cheap or how affordable is it? Then also,
how many Ugandans
have access to the internet? How many of them have knowledge about the various digital devices? And when we speak digital devices, like we are now looking at ICT devices in general, because these are the drivers of the digital migration. When you throw back to the around 2012, when the government was actually initiating the digital migration of analog to digital television, I think we all had another issue relating to some of the Ugandans were saying the decoders at the time were not affordable for everyone. Now, what happened was a government also led to conversations which led to Signet coming up with free-to-air decoders. So that was a very big, statement from the government. So when you look at that, this was an intentional move by the government at that time. That is why it was actually very easy, even though Ugandans at first thought the government was joking with the move, but they later on adopted. So when you look at our digital horizon as a country, or where we are in terms of development, well, I think we are only at you know, at the cover of everything.
We are
not
Max.
deep in, exactly. We are not deep inside.
Well, on our Max seems like we are still very far.
Yes, exactly.
I believe
You
that
know,
we have gone way past on our Max.
You know, when you talk about the digital horizon, you're talking about experience. You are talking about the outlook.
Innovation.
You get it. So when we dive deep into things like the range of experience, the outlook, how many Ugandans have access to just information when it comes to ICT and digital transformation? How many are embracing it? How many are moving with the trend when it comes to you know, to the general population? And that's why I tell you, we are still on our marks. We are still on our marks.
Well, according to research, there by January 2023, there were 11.77 million internet users in Uganda. So I think this is good, because if our population is estimated at 45 million people and 11.7 of these are accessing the internet, then I am positive that we are past the marks.
No, we are not.
We are not yet there,
we are not.
but we are past the marks. At least that's what I think. And also, the internet penetration rate stood at 24.6% of the total population at the start of 2023. These are good numbers.
They're good numbers, but when you go deep to understand, you realize it's either people who are in urban settings.
It's 29.1% of our total population. So it's not even half or a quarter.
At least if we had
29.
It is somewhere.
Okay, it is somewhere.
That's why we are on our marks.
You're very right when you say it is somewhere. 29% is not a bad number. But however, it's you will realize that it's either out of the 29, most of them are either centered around city
the
centers,
urban, yes,
or urban centers.
And we have different cities, because back in the day when we talked about cities, we talked about Kampala. But now we have Mara City, Jinja City, Gulu City, Hoima City. So when we say city centers, are we talking about all these cities, or we are talking about the traditional cities that we knew?
Well, not very many, but we can agree that there has been a bit of a stretch out. Mbara is embracing some bits of Mbale, some bits of Gulu, but also the outskirts, or when you stretch further, you realize that even you, when you leave Kampala and go to Mbara, or maybe slightly ahead, you're going to have issues with just connection, just even your phone, someone might call and it says it's off.
True.
Yet it's your phone is on, you're literally looking at your phone. You get it? So we are still on our marks.
Oh, okay, okay. Anyway, given that 45 million people and only over 10 million have smartphones, because if you're to compare that to, I like comparing us to countries like China, and sometimes someone could be like, why are you comparing us to countries like China? But I believe if you know your Bible, you can only compare David to a giant like Goliath. And if you want to get better, you have to compare yourself to a giant. But anyway, going back to ICT skills and the youth, what is the role of ICT in empowering the youth for the job market?
Well, because the job market has changed, the role of ICT is one that we really need to look at, because it has become more pivotal than it was back in the day. Nowadays, when you're going to seek for a job, they will always ask you, or most of the jobs, I won't actually point out to all jobs, but most of the formal jobs or white collar jobs, they will actually have to ask you your knowledge in regards to using, I think, is it Microsoft? Microsoft Word, or your computer knowledge. At least they need to know.
Not
can
even
you,
Word, MS in general.
MS in general. Can you type something? Can you print out?
Can you use Excel? Can you use PowerPoint? Can you
use emails?
All
that, exactly. Those simple basics of computer. So computer knowledge has become something relevant with this job market and day and age.
And today I think we have gone even further
Yes.
than, MS. We have gone to levels of can you now use ChatGPT?
Right.
Exactly. How
Can you use AI?
It? Exactly.
Yes.
And also, situations whereby keeping files, it is no longer the manual way of keeping files in, in hard copies.
Databases.
You need to have knowledge about data keeping and data storage, all that. So that's how important ICT has become, and why youth need to have lots of skills when it comes to knowledge of using ICT or ICT devices in general. Because as of now, as the generation continues to change, you always have to put yourself in position of changing as an individual. And that is where we've seen, you've mentioned countries like China, where we actually see videos on social media platforms where a child at the age of 5 years, 6 years, knows how to operate, a computer device or a gadget. And that is right from kindergarten level. So that clearly shows you that these people grow up knowing how to use these computers. So this is something that is not new to them at an early age, rather at a mature age. Where some of us find issues with using computers is because we started using them in high school, and we didn't actually
High
have
school, some of us started after high school.
we didn't even have access, because during high school there were times whereby very few high schools, actually not even very few,
Majority.
The minority of high schools we have in Uganda cannot have, there are only very few that have computers available for all the students.
That is the majority.
No, the minority, because others still study in shifts. Because if you have over
What do you
1,000 students in school, I doubt if we have a school with 1,000 computers. That's why you see,
Not that I know of.
very few. So, and you will realize it's either in international schools, because students either come with their
And
own gadgets.
they're also, international schools do not have the
Exactly.
same number of students.
The same number of students as other universities.
So the people ratio vis-a-vis the computers
that we have.
Yeah.
So even back in the day, students used to study in shifts. So that is where only those who could actually have access to the computer
you're speaking
could
like
use.
a bland kid,
So,
actually.
no, there's nothing
because
bland here.
because if
it's
we
the
are
reality.
going to go back to the grassroots of go like to hard to reach areas and look at the schools there, do these schools, even because some of them are seed schools, some of them are universal secondary schools, schools, and some are private schools, do we know for sure if they even have one computer?
No, government has been taking computers to UCE schools, but the worry is for someone like me who once attended a UCE school, I was a USE school, I will tell you, we may be around, there may actually be around 200 students for senior 4, but the available computers will be 80 or 50. So 50 computers for 200 students, that means you're going to study in shifts. Or either way, 3 students per computer.
Yeah, that's what I
still think
said.
that is better than
when you're
places where
when you're in
there is
ICT and it's hands-on, you would prefer to have at least your own gadgets, and it also it affects our level of
thank you so
understanding
much.
about
So what
digitization.
are the risk factors of not having enough ICT equipment or access to ICT equipment when it comes to students or the youth in general?
Well, you are talking about what they are missing, yeah. And let me just briefly the role, say the role of ICT, yeah. You're talking about things like providing tools and systems that enable efficient communication. For example, basic principle, yeah. You're talking about things to do with data management. You're talking about things to do with analysis. You're talking about decision-making processes. You're talking about enhancing productivity. You're talking about customer engagement or even people engagement. You're talking about competitive advantage. Yeah. Now, these are the roles that we'll be looking at, but also broadly look at things like how ICT influences employment, both as an industry that creates jobs, as a tool and as tools that empower these students or these people at a particular point to access new forms of work, talk about more flexible ways of working. So this is taking it even just from the student to even us who are already up here trying to work.
You may
so at the end
also
of the
be a
day,
student.
Exactly.
well, that's true. So at the end of the day, you're looking at it from the angle of what am I missing? And the truth is, if I don't have access to say to every or to all the infrastructure or to at least the basic principles of what I need, at a particular point, I am missing out on where the world is right now. We are not operating from the previous ways of say communication. That means you have to scale up. That means you have to move with the trend. And how are you going to communicate with someone? Your boss is out of the country. How are you going to communicate with them yet you don't have access to some of these things, or you don't have the experience when it comes to ICT, when it comes to computers? It gets a bit complicated.
I remember a time when WhatsApp was just to, just talk, chat, share. We didn't even have memes.
No.
We have advanced. Yeah, but it was used just to basically what the president likes to say, gossip. But now WhatsApp has come a mode of communication, even in the corporate work environment.
Yes.
Where it has become sacrilege for your boss to send you something and you say, I was offline. How were you offline when it was work hours? This is how we communicate. And today now we have even advanced to Zoom meetings, so you cannot miss a meeting because you're not present.
Right.
Okay. Google Meet and many other avenues of communication. So it shows we have moved in the right direction. Thank you, Chantal, for that. But like you said, yeah, now I'm starting to see how we are now, Max. And I would like for you to share this, to have an opinion regarding the second national ICT job fair, and would like you to tell us how you think it will best benefit the youth in Uganda. Share your opinion on how best the national ICT job fair can benefit the youth in Uganda. The hashtag on X app is UBCGMU, and the phone number on WhatsApp that you can reach us through is 0709602592. It is right on your screen. And again, we are asking you to share your opinion on how best the national ICT job fair can benefit the youth in Uganda. Keep your comments coming through, because this will help us have an interactive discussion, and also to hear from you and know what you think about this topic. Now, going back to the team, I'm still going to pose the same question to you. Now that you have mentioned the role of ICT, what we are missing, where we are standing as a country, I would now like to know, because this ICT job fair, honestly, is exciting, and I believe that any youth that is going to attend it will benefit. But before I share how I think they will benefit, I would like to know from either of you how best the national ICT job fair will benefit the youth in Uganda.
It takes us back to the objectives of this ICT fair, and some of the objectives, you're looking at apprenticeship, you're looking at connection, that is networking. You're also looking at things like internship. Now, when you are talking about the youth, that means that the Ministry of ICT has recognized that there is need for support for the youth. Now, having recognized that, that is why probably this ICT fair has brought together different partners for starters, and then the objective to enable these youth get, first of all, connections to maybe different people that can, in terms of study, in terms of mentorship, in terms of training, be able to interact with these people, for the youth to be able to get the skills that they need or information that is needed. And I believe that that is where we have started from, for us to be in position to gain going forward from such, and also from broadly ICT itself. Yeah.
Okay, and Sonko, same question goes back to you.
You know, there's something I've read here which is showing that it is as well dedicated to empowering the youth and aligning them with the career prospects. as something that they are as well targeting. I think when you mentioned the career prospects, it's more like the objectives that Chantal has highlighted here. When you look at career objectives or prospects of any individual, most of the young people as of now don't know what they want to do career-wise. And I'm only speaking this because of the fact that I've got the chance to interact with quite many, let's say my age mates and the like. You get to realize that someone may have studied something different, but they have a different skill. So they are in that conflict of what should I do? Should I follow let's say, should I follow my dream career? Should I follow the skills that I have to choose as a career, or should I go for what I studied? So in most cases, when you look at this particular job fair, it is aligning these young people with, first of all, the successful people in the line of ICT. We do have companies that have actually successfully integrated, the digital space into making, a lot for them in terms of production, in terms of networking, not only whereby a company is based in the country, but it also has wings out of the country. Ideally, just the connections they've built or established using the internet, the internet space. And this is where the young people ideally need to have more knowledge about. Because when you look at Kenya, why I'm using the example in Kenya is because the level of innovation in Kenya is at a terrible speed. That is the fact that many Kenyans, as well, the number of unemployment in Kenya as well may be, relatively similar to ours here. But how the Kenyans tackled unemployment, especially those who are once, or those who are employed or those in the job-seeking era, what they did was to enhance their digital skills. And they looked at the internet as an opportunity to break even. So this is the exact thing most of the young people really need to have. Because we do have at least young people who have knowledge about ICT and all that. But what they lack is they lack individuals who can guide them on how best they can earn from these skills of theirs. That yes, you do have your smartphone. What idea can you create with that smartphone that will definitely kickstart off your journey to success? That is something that the job fair is likely to also bring to this particular young ones.
When you talk about career prospects, I'm going to put it like this. It's more like how you can go for these career guidance sessions, and they will tell you this is the fastest growing industry, followed by this, and maybe they give you the three fastest growing industries. Then they break down for you and show you that you now have to choose a career depending on which industry, because it has more prospects. Take you back to campus where they will tell you, choose a course that sells more in terms of how available are the job opportunities. And this is what we are seeing, because ICT is growing, then that means we have more to explore. That means when it comes to job opportunities, there is a lot more that we see in there that the youth can get in there. And I believe when you talk about prospects, it has more prospects as compared to some of the other, other industries that we can look at in the country.
Also, it can be integrated into
Different,
pretty much
yes.
every facet. I'll give you an example. Today, when you go to a hospital, at least a good high-end hospital, you do not need to, the nurse doesn't need to go through manual files to find your file.
Right.
All they will ask you is, have you been here before? You give them your name and they will locate your file. And when the doctor sees you after consultation, he sends you to the lab. You don't need to carry anything. You will just walk there and the person just takes your name and checks what the doctor wants them to check, and they will check. You see, like, it makes life very easy.
Right.
Think about our work here. We do not have to print things anymore. We can, information that the producer wants us to have is going to be sent to us through, means of ICT, through ICT communication tools.
Right.
So I see what you're saying. And Sonko, I wanted to say something about what you said. The unemployment rate in Uganda, as of 2022, it was at 4.28%. 8%. Now, what I have found very interesting is that the country you are comparing us to, which is really, you know, developed and whatnot, Kenya, their unemployment rate as of 2022 stood at 5.5%. Now, of course, the difference is small,
Yes.
but it seems like as a country, we are actually doing better in as much as the numbers but you see, when it comes to statistics, any small number
Yes.
counts, right?
Yes.
But when you go on ground, you realize we're not doing enough.
But I
see,
want us to first appreciate
I know
that
you see,
there
I
is
know.
progress.
I know, but you know, our knowledge of ICT is greatly undermined by the grassroots levels, or our failure to start everything from the grassroots level. Something that Kenya, why I used Kenya is because this is our neighborhood now. I know,
And one of our biggest trade partners.
You know, exactly. So when you're having an issue with, when you're looking at issues like Kenya, maybe they are not far-fetched when it comes to development as much. But then when you look at them and see how they're doing, they're actually doing their things, you will have to admire as a Ugandan.
It is our Goliath.
Not as such, but it's someone we have to first of all look at and benchmark. It's more like you have your neighbor close to you and they're doing something that you also want to achieve. So you will ideally look and copy a thing or two, or even you know, outdo them in one way or the other. So ours is to make sure that we outdo them and be the bigger guys now within the region.
Okay. So my question now goes to you, Chantal. We have talked about ICT, and yeah, we agree that we need this as a country for the youth and for the development of our country. But how do we apply empowerment of the youth through ICT?
Thank you so much, Olive, for the question. Now, some of the ways that we can apply ICT to empower the youth, you're going to have to look at creating possibility of upward flows of information. You are also looking at things like enabling downward flows of information as well. You're looking at things like enabling horizontal flows of information. Now, this cuts across depending on what level you are at a particular point. But at the end of the day, it is how information is going to be flowing. How do we get to know? How do we get to meet people? How do we get to interact with them? At what levels are we interacting with them? Those are some of the ways that we can empower the youth. It's literally through information. How much do I know? How accessible is this information? How often is this information coming through? Who is giving me this information? Who am I interacting with? At what level am I interacting with them? That put together will enable empowerment, because when I have information, when I am equipped with enough knowledge, it gets a lot easier for me to be able to work out anything when it comes to how empowered I am at the end of the day. So in this case, it's let's have the information out there, and maybe going forward, infrastructure that can enable the youth have access to ICT and everything it requires to be able to perform better.
Okay, and so going away from the youth and, you know, casting the net wider to the nation, Sonko, how best can ICT foster national development?
How best I would look at, the best way is looking at coming into an inclusive, I don't know how I can actually put this, but making sure that the females and the male are all included in one basket in relation to technology, knowledge, as well as when it comes to the development of our country as well. Because when you look at the role of ICT, it's ideally looking at how we can encourage or lead to the growth of the country, but as well as also upholding the growth of individuals. So which is something that I feel the best way is also looking at how we can have various conversations or set up different platforms onto which both genders are ideally, you know, uplifted in relation to knowledge in ICT, then also creating opportunities onto which other people can feed onto, but still in the ICT space.
Okay, so if you're just joining us today, we are speaking matters ICT, and the question we are asking you to share your opinion on how best the National ICT Job Fair that starts today and ends tomorrow can benefit the youth in Uganda. Share your opinion on how best the National ICT Job Fair can benefit the youth in Uganda. The hashtag on the X app is UBCGMU, and the WhatsApp number through which you can reach us is 0709602592. Now, I have views coming through, and the first one is from Regan Clinton in Ginger, and he says, "Good morning, Uganda. I think this is an opportunity for me who graduated in computer science and information technology, and one problem we are facing with this is it's a bit expensive to start up. So it's a pleasure. We are looking forward to seeing how they are bringing us close so that we all benefit from this job fair." That is Regan Clinton from Ginger. And this person says, "What about the many youths leaving up country and can't make it to Kampala? Are they left out, thus promoting digital divide? Can't such information be put on ICT Ministry's website?" That is a pertinent question. And this person says, "We would go far if every GEA was engaged, but with a poor economy where the government is still taxing every unit of data, we shall not thrive at all." I think we need to stop preaching gloom and doom. Now, I understand, like we said, data is still very expensive in Uganda. Actually, in East Africa, we have some of the most highly priced data, that's for sure. But we need to start somewhere. If the ICT fair is there, you can attend it, get some, networks, build some networks, and then start from somewhere. Because if we are, I'm not saying that this person is wrong. Like I said, the data is expensive, but also I feel like sometimes as the youth, people like to complain about things, but they will find the data to be on TikTok and Instagram. Now, if you know these two applications, the data they consume, you can use that data to create something. The president the other day was asking a few weeks ago, "You people are on WhatsApp talking. What are you talking about?" We can use our gadgets to create, to sell products. So we need to, if Rome is not coming to us, we need to build our Rome, and we have to start somewhere. Anyway, this person says, "Good morning, UBC. I'm really excited about the ICT job fair. This is indeed one of the ways to motivate the young people to become job creators in the country. I also have some idea of using ICT to promote social impact in Uganda, which will be launched soon. To make it work better, ICT must be perceived as a security threat as a whole. I love Sonko's submission of inclusivity. We must also give chance to young people with ideas to obtain copyrights to their ideas." This is Bruno Ignatius Namisi from Wakiso. Now, as we close, yes, we have talked about all the beautiful things about ICT, but Namisi has raised something pertinent. The other day, Sonka and I were speaking about ICT and people that are using ICT to hack into systems like banking systems to steal money. So briefly, Sonko, give us a few insights on how we need to, appreciate that in as much as ICT is the way to go, we also need to be careful while using it because it can actually be detrimental if misused.
First
Briefly,
off,
30 seconds.
he mentioned the issue to do with security. Let me just put it in, let me just sum it up with security matters. The youth have more knowledge about, these risks associated to the internet, or let's say ICT, more than the old people who are in these particular offices. And the funny part is, it is the young people who actually are engaging in these scandals that we are having. So, first of all, as he mentioned, inclusivity. As we include the young people into this system, we need to as well understand why are they hacking systems. Because once you're hacking a system, someone who is hacking the system knows that the other person, the other side, knows nothing. So if we get the young people to get into such areas or systems, there is a way we shall curb. Trust me, there is a way we shall curb these hacking issues or scandals of stealing money here and there, because now we are putting, we are solving a problem with a problem. I don't know, not a problem.
I
we are solving. It's an army versus an army issue.
I want to say something. You are not going to refuse to sleep just because you fear that you're going to get nightmares.
True.
Is that your parting shot?
That is my parting shot. Irrespective of the bad side or the negative side that could come with embracing ICT and all, let's understand that there's always two sides to something. And whoever knows how to hack knows how to protect that system. That is the truth. So let's work at make sure the systems are protected.
All right. Thank you so much for being a part of this conversation.
Get them into those jobs because they know what happens.
Thank you so much for being a part of this conversation. The talk about ICT is always exciting because you and I and even everyone else, the government inclusive, are trying to find solutions to the youth unemployment in the country. And ICT, it has been proven worldwide, especially in the Western countries, like the developed countries, let me not say Western countries, developed countries like China, countries like the United States, countries in Europe, it has been established that ICT skills will take someone a long way. So if you are a youth watching, you need to follow this conversation and you need to find a way to get to Kololo ceremonial ground so that you're part of the second national ICT job fair that will take place today and tomorrow. And if you're up country, I believe that this event is going to be streamed live, so find a way to be connected so that you pick something, because some people like to say God helps those who help themselves. It's not a scripture, by the way, but it makes so much sense. My name is Olive Monica Nejima. I've been with Chantal Olive Kandinda and Jerome Paul Sonko. We will be right back.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala, this is Good Morning Uganda.
Pick of the day on UBC. Was brought to you by
MTN Momo Pay is the easy way to pay. Dial *165*3# or use the MTN Momo app. You don't need cash. MTN Momo Pay is safe and free.
I've seen a number of community members out there that have formed themselves into groups and have identified enterprises, agricultural enterprises, rice and all that, and they've actually been successfully cultivating them. They've gone ahead, the project has gone ahead and also introduced small-scale industries like the rice huller, the grinding mills and all that are managed by the groups. All these are successes.
The Ministry of ICT and National Guidance, in partnership with Huawei, has organized the second annual National ICT Job Fair 2023, which will take place at Kololo Ceremonial Grounds on the 17th and 18th of October 2023. The main objective is to address the unemployment gap among the youth in Uganda by providing a platform for them to interact with multiple employers, access job opportunities, internships, apprenticeships, and training programs in the ICT sector. The chief guest will be His Excellency Yoweri Kaguta Museveni. All members of the public are invited.
I'm very appreciative to the government of Uganda for the support it has given this school. First of all, it is paying 16 government teachers, and it's bringing in UPE funds that has partly helped the school. Formerly, the school was not like as it is now. We have put some good face. We have planted trees around the compound. We even have a banana plantation, very, very good looking. We have 16 government teachers and 10 private teachers. Those private teachers are paid by the government.
I was here in 1991, 1997. It became a model school in 95. That's when it was changed from Kazo Primary School to Kazo Model School. I am a beneficiary of UPE. Government paid for me in 1997 when I was here as a student of this school.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala, this is Good Morning Uganda.
Good morning again, and you're watching UBC Good Morning Uganda. It's time for the business update of the day as we are getting into the third hour of the show, rather the second hour of the show. Now, as we're getting off it, we start off from the Parish Development Model series. This time around, the IGG wants PDM beneficiaries trained on business plans, simply because, according to new findings, it does seem like very few people are making good use of the money they are getting from the PDM. And yet, the PDM circles were put in place to ensure that Ugandans are uplifted from poverty into the money economy, which means they have to make good use of this money. Surprisingly, though, many Ugandans have less information about how they can invest this money ably into something productive. And according to the Inspectorate of Government, they have actually called for further sensitization for the parish development model beneficiaries on the development of business plans to ensure that they make good use of the money. When you look at this, the Deputy IGG, Dr. Patricia Chano Kiria, after a long monitoring and inspection exercise of the PDM that she was actually carrying out in Iganga, she said that the team encountered some failed enterprises due to unguided implementation. Not only in Iganga, by the way, there are actually some areas which have actually had the same issues since the PDM was rolled out. And of course, the observation was that the beneficiaries had switched from their original enterprises to other businesses where they lacked skills, causing confusion and losses. So in registering for what they would make or where they would actually be investing the money, they apparently changed to a new side of business or to a new line of business, thinking that maybe that would be the business that would benefit them. However, some of them lacked the skills and, of course, didn't have clear business guidelines and plans to ensure that they make good use of this particular PDM funds or cash. So in addition, the Inspectorate wants the government to put in place mechanisms of tracking these PDM funds and payments at national, district and parish level in order to ensure that the beneficiaries are not misusing the money. Of course, the reason as to why the PDM was put in place was to ensure that the majority of Ugandans that were not yet in the money economy would as well get into the money economy. And this is where the PDM had quickly kick-started off. However, surprisingly though, it does seem like some Ugandans are not making good use of that money. Now, elsewhere, as we're heading into our forex market, let's try to understand what is happening as well in the Ugandan's financial market space. As the Ugandan shilling did close flat on Monday against the dollar, it does seem like these weather conditions in Manoa may be affecting the flow of goods and services in the country, simply because the outdoor businesses and how most of the Ugandans, how it becomes more flexible when it is not raining, more so in the city center. It affects, the flow of quite a number of businesses in the country. Now, when you look at the local currency in Uganda, that opened at 3,750, that is for buying, and then selling was at 3,760 shillings. I did give you the same update yesterday morning. This was against the US dollar. But by the session is closed, it apparently settled at 3,745 to 3,755. So that is a worry somehow. Now, the day session had witnessed some dollar sellers on the interbank ejecting a sense of stability into the currency's performance. However, as the day progressed, a few demand tickets filtered into the market, creating a balance between supply and demand, according to some of the traders, especially those from ABSA. Now, overnight yields traded at average of 11%. And conditions as clients remitted mid-month taxes. The Bank of Uganda is scheduled to hold a bond switch auction for the 18th of January 2024 Treasury bond, and this will actually be done on Wednesday, 18th October. Now, the tenors on offer are 3 years bonds, 5 years, 10 years, and 15 years plus 20 years bonds that the government is set to auction. Now, lastly, from our business perspective this particular morning, let's turn our focus on the forex market. That is as of close of business yesterday evening. The US dollar was opening at 3,749.29. That is buying. And selling was at 3,759.29 shillings. However, by the time of closure, the US dollar was buying at 3,745.38 Ugandan shillings, while selling at 3,755.38 shillings. Now, elsewhere, the euro was actually buying at 3,944.25 shillings, while selling at 3,954.79 shillings. Then, furthermore, the Great Britain pound was buying at 4,556.25 shillings, while selling at 4,558.41 shillings. Now, the Kenyan shilling, on the other hand, was buying at 25.06 shillings, while selling at 25.13 shillings. Elsewhere, the Tanzanian shilling was buying at 1.49 shillings, while selling at 1.49 shillings as well. Same price, no changes. The South African rand, on the other hand, was buying at 197.63 shillings, while selling at 196.16 shillings. Now, summing it up, this particular moment is taking us back to the press review. But first, we revisit the local dailies, that is from the Ugandan perspective, to see what the front pages of the newspapers in the country have to say in regards to the local stories as well as the international stories, and of which we revisit the New Vision first. As according to the New Vision this morning, the headline is "Fire Erupts Over Pipeline Compensation" as imposters seize 641 acres to share in 15 trillion Ugandan shillings oil project. And elsewhere, rain disrupts UNEB exams, teacher arrested over practicals. Read more about day one of the UCE examinations. And then UNEB commences 9 bus accident victims turn up for senior 4 exams. Read more of the same with the New Vision. Elsewhere, Uganda, DR Congo agree to remove entry visas and strengthen security. How about that? More of that in the New Vision. As Namirembe Nominations Committee to face probe team. Read more about that in the New Vision. As Akena's UPC presidency in the balance. Read more about the court rulings. Still in the New Vision. As human activities eat up River Kafu. How about that? More matters in relation to climate change. You can read more of the same in the New Vision. As investigations further into Magara murder case, DPP drops charges against Pato. Now, the Daily Monitor, still in today's case, the Daily Monitor highlights universities are to lose over 1,500 courses. And you can read more about the same, as they are only left with 1 month to complete the review of more than 1,500 academic programs that are being offered. And elsewhere, commercial banks register growth of assets in past year as salary boost fails to book doctors to their workplaces. Why Zake's loose tongue won't get him out of trouble. Daily Monitor gives you more details of the same as Mukura locals move out of shadows of 1989 disaster. Now, away from that, let's also focus on the Daily Nation in Kenya. Crossing the borders, the Daily Nation highlights NMS ghosts come for Uhuru's allies. Read more about that former president of Kenya. And in a sports perspective, Harambee Stars stand faces Russia to 2-2 draw in Turkey friendly, as Raila Odinga says that he didn't endorse Kalonzo's 2027 State House run, as reports were saying. So you can read more of the same in the Daily Nation. Lastly, the Citizen newspaper in Tanzania tread carefully on veto power ideas. EAC has been urged. Read more of the same in the Citizen. Samia Suluhu Hassan, once sleeping giant Singida, awakened as region clocks 60. Now, government molds private rail operators, as also Tanzania bags 8 converted travel awards. It is Tuesday. Now, it's time for the traffic updates with Olive Monica Najuma.
Well, good morning, and thank you for keeping it. Good morning, Uganda. Like he said, my name is Olive Monica Najuma, and I am here to give you the traffic updates. If you are coming from the areas of Kalere and heading into town with the Wandegea or surrounding areas, today we are looking at this place, and I would like to see how you can negotiate your routes as you go to work or place of business or even school. And of course, starting around the areas of the Kampala Northern Bypass roundabout in Kalere, we look at areas like Kombuzi, and as you can see on your screen, there is red zones coming through from Kalere Kombuzi side, feeding into the roundabout right there. And yes, that indicates traffic jam that has built up over there. Now, moving on, still onto Gayaza Road, you're going to find traffic jam still coming through around that area just after the roundabout, and of course the areas of Kombuzi. Now, still continuing ahead, we see that there are red zones coming through from Mawanda Road, connecting to the main road over there, and of course it continues all the way onto the main road. So you're going to be held up this morning, and it looks like the traffic is intense in this area, as you can see over there. Yes, the traffic, the red zones are becoming deeper, which means that traffic has built up and is intense around this area. Now, looking at the area around the roundabout that joins Bombo Road to Gayaza Road, you can see that there is still intense traffic jam that has built up over there, even around the areas of the Synagogue Church of Nations. And this traffic still continues to the Kubiri roundabout, and you can see that even the surrounding areas that around this place are also traffic intense this morning. When you look at Dwaliro Road, there is intense traffic over there, and it is still feeding into this Kubiri roundabout, and going near the New Mulago Gate Road, there is intense traffic. And as we continue along, still you're going to find that Binaisa Road is also intense. I'm telling you, the roads here are all, if you're going to town, the roads here all indicate huge traffic this morning. Now looking at that roundabout that joins Chira Road to Binaisa Road, there is still intense traffic over there, and of course as you leave the roundabout to Haj Musa Kasule Road, there is still huge traffic over there. But if you're going to the areas of Yusuf Lule Road, then you're in luck because there is smooth flow of traffic around this area. You're going to find just a little bit of traffic along Yusuf Lule Road. There is a bend there where I see red lines, red zones, but it's nothing, it's not too much for you to be worried. You should be able to leave this area in record time and continue to wherever you're going. But coming back to look at some of the roads that are joining now, that was Yusuf Lule Road, and continuing along to look at roads like Access Road. There is some bit of traffic over there that it feeds into the roundabout and goes into Mukwano Road around there. So if you're going to the ends of 8th Street, you might find a little bit of traffic over there, but it is not intense like it usually is in most mornings. So Mukwano Road, Mukwano side, 8th Street looks good this morning. And of course, if you're to look at Old Port Bell Road, it has a few orange zones over there, but overall it shows that the traffic is moving smoothly, so you shouldn't worry too much. You should be able to get to your final destination in record time. Well, that's it that we've had for you this morning as far as traffic updates is concerned. My name is Olive Monica Najuma. Up next is Robert Chirabo with the agenda.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala, this is Good Morning Uganda.
Pick of the day on UBC. Was brought to you by
MTN Momo Pay is the easy way to pay. Dial *165*3# or use the MTN Momo app. You don't need cash. MTN Momo Pay is safe and free.
I've seen a number of community members out there that have formed themselves into groups and have identified enterprises, agricultural enterprises, rice and all that, and they've actually been successfully cultivating them. They've gone ahead, the project has gone ahead and also introduced small-scale industries like the rice huller, the grinding mills and all that are managed by the groups. All these are successes.
The Ministry of ICT and National Guidance, in partnership with Huawei, has organized the second annual National ICT Job Fair 2023, which will take place at Kololo Ceremonial Grounds on the 17th and 18th of October 2023. The main objective is to address the unemployment gap among the youth in Uganda by providing a platform for them to interact with multiple employers, access job opportunities, internships, apprenticeships, and training programs in the ICT sector. The chief guest will be His Excellency Yoweri Kaguta Museveni. All members of the public are invited.
I'm very appreciative to the government of Uganda for the support it has given this school. First of all, it is paying 16 government teachers, and it's bringing in UPE funds that has partly helped the school. Formerly, the school was not like as it is now. We have put some good face. We have planted trees around the compound. We even have a banana plantation, very, very good looking. We have 16 government teachers and 10 private teachers. Those private teachers are paid by the government.
I was here 1991, 1997. It became a model school 95. That's when it was changed from Kazo Primary School to Kazo Model School. I am a beneficiary of UPE. Government paid for me 1997 when I was here as a student of this school.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala, this is Good Morning Uganda.
The Ministry of ICT and National Guidance, in partnership with Huawei, has organized the second annual National ICT Job Fair 2023, which will take place at Kololo Ceremonial Grounds on the 17th and 18th of October 2023. The main objective is to address the unemployment gap among the youth in Uganda by providing a platform for them to interact with multiple employers, access job opportunities, internships, apprenticeships, and training programs in the ICT sector. The chief guest will be His Excellency Yoweri Kaguta Museveni. All members of the public are invited.
I'm very appreciative to the government of Uganda for the support it has given this school. First of all, it is paying 16 government teachers, and it's bringing in UPE funds that has partly helped the school. Formerly, the school was not like as it is now. We have put some good face. We have planted trees around the compound. We even have a banana plantation, very, very good looking. We have 16 government teachers and 10 private teachers. Those private teachers are paid by the government.
I was here 1991, 1997. It became a model school 95. That's when it was changed from Kazo Primary School to Kazo Model School. I am a beneficiary of UPE. Government paid for me 1997 when I was here as a student of this school.
UBC is the national public broadcaster. We educate, inform, entertain, and inspire our audiences. You can watch us on free-to-air channel 001, DSTV channel 282, GoTV channel 371, Star Times channel 201, Zuku TV channel 20, and Azam TV channel 350. Even when your subscription expires, you can still watch UBC for free on your pay TV platforms.
Pick of the day on UBC. Was brought to you by
MTN Momo Pay is the easy way to pay. Dial star 165 star 3 hash or use the MTN Momo app. You don't need cash. MTN Momo Pay is safe and free.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala, This is Good Morning Uganda.
The Ministry of ICT and National Guidance, in partnership with Huawei, has organized the second annual National ICT Job Fair 2023, which will take place at Kololo Ceremonial Grounds on the 17th and 18th of October 2023. The main objective is to address the unemployment gap among the youth in Uganda by providing a platform for them to interact with multiple employers, access job opportunities, internships, apprenticeships, and training programs in the ICT sector. The chief guest will be His Excellency Yoweri Kaguta Museveni. All members of the public are invited.
I'm very appreciative to the government of Uganda for the support it has given this school. First of all, it is paying 16 government teachers, and it's bringing in UPE funds that has partly helped the school. Formerly, the school was not like as it is now. We have put some good face. We have planted trees around the compound. We even have a banana plantation, very, very good looking. We have 16 government teachers and 10 private teachers. Those private teachers are paid by the government.
I was here 1991, 1997. It became a model school in 95. That's when it was changed from Kazo Primary School to Kazo Model School. I am a beneficiary of UPE. Government paid for me in 1997 when I was here as a student of this school.
UBC is the national public broadcaster. We educate, inform, entertain, and inspire our audiences. You can watch us on free-to-air channel 001, DSTV channel 282, GoTV channel 371, Star Times channel 201, Zuku TV channel 20, and Azam TV channel 350. Even when your subscription expires, you can still watch UBC for free on your pay TV platforms.
Pick of the day on UBC. Was brought to you by
MTN Momo Pay is the easy way to pay. Dial star 165 star 3 hash or use the MTN Momo app. You don't need cash. MTN Momo Pay is safe and free.
I've seen a number of community members out there that have formed themselves into groups and have identified enterprises, agricultural enterprises, rice and all that, and they've actually been successfully cultivating them. They've gone ahead, the project has gone ahead and also introduced small-scale industries like the rice huller, the grinding mills and all that are managed by the groups. All these are successes.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala, this is
in Bushenyi district, we run a number of programs ranging from service delivery to wealth creation. We have the presidential initiative on wealth creation, a MUGA program, where we have 34 circles that have been given funds for the last 2 years, of which each circle received 33 million and only 2 managed to receive 50 million each. These funds have enabled the different categories of our population to engage into business-related activities, and we can see their incomes getting better. Some of them are into tailoring, others into mechanics, into carpentry, hairdressing, or mention it. And so far, they are running their enterprises smoothly. There's also another program, which is the Uganda Women Entrepreneurship Program, WEP, where we have dispersed the funds to the women groups, and of which recovery for the WEP program is around 52%. And of recent, the district was given more funds. The president actually was the one who officiated it during Women's Day on the 8th of March in Chirihura district, where we got an additional 132 million shillings to be given to the youth groups for good performance. But previously we had over 600 million shillings on top of that, and so far so good. That group is very organized actually for the women.
UBC studios in Kampala. This is Good Morning Uganda.
Good morning once again. Thank you so much for keeping it Good Morning Uganda. My name is Olive Monica Najima and I am here with Robert Chirabo Nyonyintono. This is the hour where we bring you the GMU agenda, and on agenda we still have topical discussions regarding issues that are of national importance. And of course, speaking about national importance, yesterday the senior 4 candidates started their Uganda certificate of examinations. And of course, if you're Ugandan, you know that we go through different levels before we transition into university. That is primary living examinations, then Uganda certificate of education, that is for senior 4 candidates, and later on the senior 6 candidates will be starting their Uganda advanced certificate of education that helps them transition into higher institutions of learning like universities and vocational institutes and you know, many more, to say the least. Now yesterday 364,470 candidates started sitting their first examination, and they will do this all through the rest of this month. So if you're a parent or guardian to a candidate, my prayers go out to you, because I know sometimes when these candidates are sitting the exams, the way some parents are, it is as if they're the ones sitting the exams. I've been there before. Good morning, Robert.
Hello. To you.
How are you?
I'm very fine.
Now, I know that your children are still way too young to sit any national examinations. But I have been there. At least I've done the first phase of primary living examinations. Okay. Yes. And I understand how parents can be like on tenterhooks when examinations begin. Now, a lot of things happened yesterday. And I would like us to first of all look at some of the unique happenings that occurred when the examinations began.
To begin with was the morning shower.
Yes.
That was really heavy in some areas, and this caused panic. For example, candidates that had to, the day scholars that had to get there, some that had centers where they have to go to different from their schools. You know, Ministry of Education allows a school to have a candidate class, but when they don't have a sitting or a UNEB examination center. So what that means is you've been studying in another school, but you're going to sit your exams in another place. Now, movement, you could be boarding, but maybe still have to do some movement, because then you're not simply going to the usual school. Either you're put in a van or something and they take you there. So the morning showers kind of disrupted. But the good thing, UNEB, I think, had organized very well. Another unique thing about yesterday is that, again, we saw the number of girls sitting these exams increasing by 4.3%.
Wow.
And to me, that meant so much, because
especially after the lockdown.
After the lockdown, because we had so much issues of pregnancy, and maybe someone thought these numbers would deteriorate or reduce. And when you look at our entire education system, you see that at every level, we lose more girls than boys. When you look at how many start primary 1, how many make it to P7, there's a reduction. Now, from P7 to senior 4, still there's usually a big reduction. From senior 4 to senior 6, the numbers continue, because now the girls have entered that age of some can go to marriage, others there's so much distraction. But this year again, I'm happy that we had that increase. But also another unique thing is we still had who we may think would have been done with school in case they didn't have the opportunity come and sit. We had in Ruchiga a leader at about 30-something start her examinations. So we had a mother of 4 that also sit her examination.
After 15 years.
After 15 years. So, and we also had another unique thing of a candidate who just didn't turn up for exams because she said she had lost interest.
What?
in study.
At the very last minute?
Yeah, she said she had lost interest and she no longer wants to continue with school. So despite having been registered, fulfilled everything, she just said, I'm not going to sit for these exams.
Wow. But you know, sometimes people will say, I have lost interest, but when in actual sense, she probably was ill prepared. Maybe she has not been reading.
Saying her past exams, she didn't perform very well.
Yeah.
So she doesn't see the reason why then she should continue.
Okay, now when it gets to that, who do you think has let this child down? Because yes, they have let themselves down by probably not preparing enough, but have we done enough sensitization to let the young people know that these exams are very important? Because a person that has a senior 4 certificate, you can correct me if I'm wrong, is way better than someone that doesn't have any.
Oh, definitely. It can take you to vocational institutions, senior 4. You can upgrade from that level. But you can't upgrade from primary 7.
No, you can't.
You know, technical institutions can take you. Of course, now you have the direction of industrial training that has tried to create that balance. But still, this is very vital because you can't have a senior 6 without a senior 4. And at least there are some certificates that someone can do if they have at least done senior 4 and they have that certificate.
Hey, my goodness. My heart goes out to that girl because she has no idea what kind of world she's setting herself up for. But anyway, looking back now in Mukono, when the UNEB exams were beginning, of course, we have invigilators and scouts that are sent to different places. But the UNEB exam supervisor in Mukono district expressed concern over the shortage of invigilators in the district. And he said that some of them turned up late, others didn't show up at all. So what does that translate for those centers? Because if there is no invigilator, can an exam begin? Can the students do their exams without someone to invigilate them?
Well, the role of an invigilator is like to supervise and above all to see that we don't have examination malpractices. Now, if UNEB was able to drop these exams at this center, and its absence of invigilators, the administration can take over. The only risk it has there is
giving them answers
in case the temptation of malpractice happens.
Yes.
But also the good thing with UNEB, away from the invigilators, they have the scouts. That for Pacha district, there's this man who has a car and they just go around abruptly. So even if you've compromised the invigilators, you may find it hard that a car would just park at this center, the authorities of UNEB, and abruptly they check and see what is happening. So that's scouting, those cars that keep on rotating center by center to see the progress, much as the invigilators does a great job. But also in Soroti Senior Secondary School, there's something very interesting. Usually, journalists are allowed to come to the center, interact sometimes before exams begin, even sometimes take pictures within. But in Soroti Secondary School, no journalist was allowed near the center.
Why?
Not even anybody else apart from the headmaster and the invigilators and maybe the teachers that take us. So this one says, I don't want anybody or anyone trying to take care or monitor what is happening here unless you're an official from UNEB.
But I hear them, I hear where they're coming from, because for every set of exam results UNEB releases, there is a huge set of exam results that has been withheld. And you know the trauma the parents and the students go through. So if to safeguard anything that can lead to the exams being withheld, I am all for it, because, man, you don't want, first of all, your school to be in the newspapers over exam results that were withheld, because you're going to potentially lose parents. And when you lose parents, of course, you're losing students. And of course, the image, it is affected.
But also there is a belief that when you allow media access, it is a way of promoting transparency and clearing that there is nothing wrong that is happening.
What if it's the media that has brought the Kasasi?
I really, at least for the time.
We are upstanding members of society.
When it comes to that, we may be people who look for the abnormal and bring it out to the world. So
But
sometimes we feel that when you deny us access,
You're
there's
hiding
something
something.
wrong, you're hiding. When you give us access and opportunity, you're being transparent, there's nothing wrong. And that's why some people said, you know, the journalists were there, so everything was okay, because when the press was allowed. However, I would kind of accept that sometimes it is okay, because some of our friends and colleagues sometimes go overboard, and they can also create, you know, these kids sometimes are on tension, you come in with cameras they have never seen, you're having your flashes here and there, then you interview some before going for the paper. How prepared are you?
They're
Can I ask you?
already
You know,
nervous.
yeah, so I feel sometimes it's good we protect them and we take pictures, but not within the center. However, it's also important that sometimes these malpractices, it's us who has brought them out. The media. It's the media who brings and UNEB follows after.
Really?
Sometimes, yes, because you see a story showing that these invigilators didn't come, you know, maybe some, you know, this child did that and this happened. So I feel it's how we manage to do it professionally is what should be
Keyword
questioned.
professionally.
Professionally, because sometimes we misuse our rights
Of being watchdogs.
of being watchdogs. So how do we maintain professional touch? Because it's a sensitive time. These are young kids doing and craving for their future. If media presence can disorganize them, then we'd rather not have it.
Rather not have it. Now, last year we had many incidents of malpractice. I remember a case of a school in Kawempe where an aunt paid someone to sit exams for her niece. And of course, UNEB has over time spelled out the charges or even sentences for anyone caught red-handed trying to carry out malpractice. But I would like to know what message they are re-echoing this year.
Well, according to Jennifer Kaule, the Principal Public Relations Officer, there was an amendment in the law that now gives tougher punishments for someone who engages in examination malpractices. But also UNEB has come up with a number of initiatives aimed at fighting examination malpractices. One, there's been so much sensitization of the scouts, but also when it comes, because rigging takes place in about 3 fronts. One, there is prior to the examination, what we call the paper leaking. And that's why I have this saying, this is not the paper. It is believed that at one time students had gotten kasasi. Now everyone who has gone through school may understand when I talk about kasasi. That is a paper leaks. So the students are able to go through this paper. And when UNEB brings the exam, they are well versed with the paper, so they know the answers. That is when the examination leaks. But I want to say for the last 2 to 3 years, or even 5 years, papers leaking is something that UNEB has fought so much. That at least we don't have, this is not the paper, sir.
So how were they getting, before you even got to where UNEB is right now, how were schools accessing the papers? I remember there was a time when national exams were being set outside the country. Are they still being set outside the country, or they're being set locally? And who do we know, or in the past cases, who was leaking? Was it someone in UNEB itself leaking the exams?
Definitely, it must have been an inside job. Someone within UNEB who was doing that. Now, exams are totally done here. We no longer import them. But also they improved some tactics within UNEB that now you can't be very sure that you don't set an entire paper now. You know, everyone has, and they do random sampling, so you may not be very sure. Now they were able to fight that, and I think they tightened more. The other area where exams leak was that on that very day of exams, either the paper is tampered with, because now they improve the packing material. There's a seal you have, and that's why they will lift when a paper comes to prove. Let me just use this. You remember when the invigilator stands before you, then has to hold that wrapping paper upside down, shakes and shows that the paper is entirely sealed. and they are using very confiscated, very complicated material that in case you tamper with it, it can show that something has happened. So that was an improvement. That now, along the channel of transportation, no one can remove a paper easily and maybe seal it again. Like previously, it was like a black cavera, but this is, and it even has where someone has to sign that the papers, their papers have come well sealed, not tampered with. That was a great improvement. And also, the method of transporting. You know, now exams are escorted by police. Usually they are kept at police at every stage. Now, the other area where they would reach and cheat were the invigilators themselves and the school administration, where somehow I think the school administration would either know who were going to be the invigilators and compromise them, or upon arrival, these invigilators would discuss with the school administration, and then teachers would come and give already worked on answers to their students to copy and fill and pass. But of late, there is a tactic UNEB has employed that's very hard for you to know who are going to vigilate at that particular station. It's very hard. And like I told you, the scout way, that even when you compromise them, anytime someone from UNEB can bump into this scout, they have vehicles and motorcycles. For them, their role is to keep on moving within the area. So I think those 3 phases of cheating, rigging exams have been to a greater extent. That is why it is very easy now for UNEB to detect that a certain school cheated, not because they're able to arrest people in progress, but they even look at the style, the question answering, you know, because some questions don't take universal answers. Then they look at everyone, the answering, and they know these exams, we suspect, let's investigate.
There used to be also allegations. I've never known those to be true, but there used to be allegations of some schools having teachers who are also examiners or markers, yes. So they would claim that the students in these schools, like some of a certain school we normally talk about here, that their teachers would be privy to the examination that UNEB is going to set. So how has UNEB changed its system in a way that not even the insiders know what paper the students are going to sit?
Now, one of the ways UNEB has done that, first, is no one marks an entire paper. UNEB, they don't, no examiner marks an entire paper.
No, leave alone the marking.
You just have sections.
Leave alone the marking. Okay. How about the real paper itself? Like how I know that this is the new vision paper for Wednesday? Because it is said that back in the day, people would get access to that paper. How has UNEB ensured that even that paper, that let's say the paper that is going to be started, because right now there is an examination that is starting at 9 a.m. How does UNEB ensure that that paper, no one has had access to it until the time when the students are supposed to sit it?
First, even if your school has examiners, no one sets an entire paper. That is one thing that UNEB did.
Okay.
No one, previously we had those that were masters.
And they would sit
and
set the entire thing.
Me am an examiner, but now no one sets an entire paper. People set sections. And then, even when the sections are set, no one gets to know which of the finished exams are being done. I'm told it is the director of UNEB, the executive director, and I think either his assistant or somebody, that all the papers, for example, a particular subject, if they may come up with about 5 papers, but they decide which final, and it's done in terms of like a vote, where you pick and randomly, so you can't be sure that this is the particular out of the many 5 or 6 that have come in. So that's why, by and large, examination malpractices have reduced at level of leaking the paper, have reduced at level of marking the exams, because you're not marking an entire paper, and they have Q codes that you can't know
Which school?
Which school? Because remember, you don't put your school. You have to put your UNEB number.
Yes.
So that has greatly. Where there is still a challenge is in the actual time when the paper is being done. Now you've talked of where we lacked invigilators and some never showed up. This is where I have risks that now what is happening is either someone sitting for somebody or someone aiding when the examination is going on. And that is where UNEB has to up their game. But leakage is no longer there.
So the schools whose
marking is no longer there, but this assistance.
So the schools whose results are usually withheld or have been withheld, for instance, from last year, were carrying out malpractice in term by assisting.
Assisting. You go to a school, the candidates themselves are the one. You may think they're the ones in the exam. Maybe it is somebody in the exams. You go and there is someone at the gate to notify them every spot. There is a teacher. It is exam time, and he's assisting. Number this or they are giving. That is where they still have a problem.
But a school that has had 4 years to instruct and get students ready to sit for exams, what would be their motive? What would motivate them into involving themselves in malpractice? Yet they had ample time. Exams do not happen by accident.
Well, first and foremost, today there is so much competition in our education system.
For grades.
And bad enough, the competition is about grades. And there is something I want to blame on the media. And okay, also the ministry maybe. You see, in the medical profession, you're not allowed to advertise yourself. Professional doctors don't.
That's true.
You can't find a very good psychiatrist coming on TV.
Advertising his
I'm
services.
found here, even hospitals. You don't see them advertise themselves.
Not even medicine, not even pharmacies, yes.
Now, leave alone these quack ones, Dr. Senjo, Dr. what, those ones.
Your colon is dirty.
Those things,
yes.
But professionally. Now, the media will do more harm than good. I'll go to a school on Entebbe Road and say, these ones excelled. They are lifting out of these students. We need to kill this habit of saying one's ability is on grades.
But celebration has been there.
Celebration
Remember
is okay,
the time when we used to have
example.
a national, like, this is the best student nationally. Every parent would want that. Every student that has worked hard would want that.
But the way it was being done previously and the way we are doing it now, I'll tell you, you go to a school, they have not performed good, for heaven's sake. But someone says, Mubende, dineno lyakoze bulungi, ne lyakoze bulungi, bayisiza abaana bonna bulungi. And, you know, there is a way, even those that have not performed very well. I don't know if these giants are compromised financially or what, they paint a picture. So this unhealthy competition for grades makes schools get to reach. Another is when you're not prepared enough. We're not prepared enough.
And the question is, why aren't you prepared enough? This is, for instance, senior 4 years of instruction, a full year of knowing that in October there is a national exam that is supposed to be sat, and you're here unprepared. You did not have catastrophe. You did not have rebels attack your school. You had no fire. There was nothing to stop your school from being prepared. I think it is school owners that are being unserious.
Sometimes management, when you go to the private sector, these schools, it is free entry, free exit. I can hire you, I can fire you. Then you have a good teacher. The next time you don't have a good teacher, you don't have money to hire. So there's a lot of complication. And if you know what brings money, it's grades. That's why they will advertise, twatuza abaana 10 bonna mu first grade.
Well,
logically, how can that happen?
Robert, this conversation obviously is touching some sensitive nerves, but I would like for you to give us your parting shot in 30 seconds.
Well, first I want to thank UNEB. So far, so good. The first day was indeed a success. But I also want to urge schools that let's not involve in examination malpractices, because it will catch up one day with you. How would you feel going to a theater when the doctor who is going to work on you, you know you rigged examinations for this child, she wasn't the best. So these, that many challenges we are facing today may be a result of you who thinks you're going to make money, the collapsing buildings and all that. And to the candidates, do your best. Paper 1 may not have worked for you, but remember you have paper 2. And finally, this is not the end of the world in case things don't turn out how you expect them to be.
And of course, that ends our discussion today. And of course, my personal message to candidates out there, I don't know if you're watching right now, but even you, the parent that has a candidate, as you speak to your child, tell them that yes, the grades are important and you need to pull up your socks, do your best to ensure that you pass. But if you don't get 8 in 8, that's not the end of the world. You can still make it and be successful, but in everything you do, be diligent, use your work well, use your time well, because time and effort will give you success in everything that you do.
A short one. Have you looked at the success cards of late?
We will talk about success cards when we get on air. Thank you so much for watching Good Morning Uganda and The Agenda. We'll catch you again in a bit with sports updates.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala, this is Good Morning Uganda.
I'm very appreciative to the government of Uganda for the support it has given this school. First of all, it is paying 16 government teachers, and it's bringing in UPE funds that has partly helped the school. Formerly, the school was not like as it is now. We have put some good face. We have